Hi, this is Kate from Core Wellbeing, and I really just wanted to jump on and record a quick video for you today. It's not the nicest of topics, but I heard on the radio this morning, I was listening to a segment where they were talking about the boy who has now passed after being hit in the head over the weekend or over New Year's. I don't keep up with the news a whole lot. I don't actually have a TV, so the bits and pieces that I do catch from the news are probably not the whole story. So excuse me if I'm missing details or getting things wrong. But basically they were discussing, the radio presenters, and they had people calling in and they were discussing their thoughts around how we can manage this violence amongst, the young Australian population, particularly males, but I really don't feel that it's isolated to males as well. There is a bigger picture going on here, and I think that was something that was absolutely acknowledged by everyone who was discussing it, and there were some really good suggestions about how we can manage it, and that obviously I think, and I agree with what a few of the people were saying, is that we really need to get in and start speaking to these people when they are significantly younger, because once you're out of school, once you're out there drinking alcohol and you're exposed to drugs, you're exposed to people of, different beliefs or just people you haven't come across before. I don't know what it is, but obviously the education and the change needs to start much sooner. There is probably a lot of change that needs to happen within the homes and amongst parents, but I just feel like unless, and I'm not a parent myself, so again, I can't comment, and I wanted, I offer my condolences to anyone who's been affected by violence, and I think it's so sad. I'm actually struggling to hold back tears as I think of this right now. But we really have to consider as well that the people who are acting out and they're behaving in this way, while, they're doing the wrong thing, I still feel empathy towards them, because if you're someone who's happy on the inside, then you don't walk around the street punching people or picking fights. So I think while there's so much torment, there's so much hurt, there's, I can't even begin to imagine how horrendous it is for the families and the victims of these violent attacks. There would be such great torment and such great hurt going on within the people who are actually doing the violent actions, the perpetrators, sorry, that was the word that I'm looking for. Now, maybe some of that comes down to upbringing, but I would argue, and this is from people I've come across in my clinic, from people who I've just come across in my life, that sometimes you can have a family who is the nicest, most balanced, most genuine, loving, kind people and parents who really try and they make an effort, and they can still have children that they just can't connect with or can't get through to, and no matter what discipline they enforce or what loving parenting they apply, it's still, sometimes we have these individuals that just, you still can't reach them through those means. And maybe this is going to seem unimportant, and maybe it's going to seem crazy, and I'm only saying it because it's my profession, but I really, really strongly believe that we need to start addressing people's nutrition and yes, from that young level and from that family level as well. And I'm not saying that nutrition is the one and only thing that's going to make a change. There's so many factors at play, but I don't feel like it's something that is discussed at length when these sorts of issues occur. Now, we know that the food that we eat, the old saying, you are what you eat. And it is so true. It's actually a literal thing. Whatever you eat is going to absorb into your body, providing you have adequate digestive function. And from that, you're going to break it down into, various amino acids or vitamins, minerals, whatever it is. And that becomes the building blocks of your neurotransmitters, of your hormones, of basically your neurotransmitters and your hormones as well, and everything, your skin and hair and nails, but neurotransmitters in particular, that's what helps us to regulate our mood. That's what helps you to be a happy, well-functioning, well-adjusted person who doesn't feel the need to walk down the street and punch someone in the head. And again, I just want to keep reiterating, I'm not saying that this is the one thing that's going to solve the problem, but maybe it's something that hasn't been addressed enough. I see children and teenagers, and you just have to look around. possibly at yourself, and maybe not at yourself, maybe at someone that you've seen in the street, but there is processed food just like everywhere. I walked down the supermarket aisles. I tried to buy a dip the other day to take to a friend's house, and out of all of, like, you know how many there are in a supermarket shelf, there was one that I could find that didn't have preservatives. Like, people must have thought I was very strange, because I honestly stood there for about 15 minutes reading the back of every single packet to see what was inside. I didn't have time to make it myself. And I thought, oh, surely like there'll be an option. Well, there was an option, one option. Every single other thing had preservatives. It had artificial flavors, some of them. It had highly refined dairy or egg, these known allergens that, yeah, in some people it just causes bloating or it causes a skin rash, but in some people it causes severe behavioral issues. That's just one side of it. And even if we look at people who are eating predominantly fast food or processed food, then, sorry, I actually feel emotional about this. They're not getting potentially all of the enzymes, all of the vitamins and the minerals, the cofactors and the building blocks that they need to be able to have a mood that's balanced, to be able to feel normal and feel well adjusted and, you know, wake up in the morning and, I don't know, not feel agitated, not feel aggressive, or not feel depressed, just to feel balanced. I don't know. I just feel like I had to say something. I needed to get it off my chest because, I mean, if I could have called the radio station, I would have, but I was driving and I couldn't do it. But I just feel like maybe it's something we need to start including into the discussion. And I know that people are making a movement back towards whole foods and back towards, you know, real food and not processed food, but there is so much more underneath it than just healthy digestive system, which is hugely important, or, you know, being optimal weight. Like, all of these things are, yeah, they're great, and that is going to come as a result of having these healthy foods, but there's so much more to it. I could go on forever, and I feel like I've already rambled a little bit. And so anyway, thank you for listening, and maybe I'll write some more about this. Definitely, I think that food and mood connection, you know, even starting to look further. And obviously there's people who could eat these more processed foods and do okay. But there's some people, and it depends on your genetic makeup. It depends on whether you've got a chemical toxicity, you know, if you've been exposed to a lot of heavy metals or other chemical toxins that we just get in our environment. There's things that can happen on a metabolic level that are going to really change whether or not you can actually function from the food that you're eating. Anyway, I'll put something that's a little bit more succinct together and pop it up on the blog, but I just really wanted to get my thoughts out there. And again, like, my absolute condolences to anyone who's affected by violence, and I can't begin to imagine how horrible it is, but let's really get talking and let's see where we can start making a change and help to, as a society, be happier and healthier and more well-adjusted. At the end of the day, that's my ultimate goal. So sending love and health to all, and yeah, let's keep the conversation going.